Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a game that breaks the limits of 2D Mario. It pushes itself, and I would have to say it's one of the best games in 2D Mario history. Let's get into the story of this game. It's pretty simple. Mario and friends get invited to the Flower Kingdom, but oh no, Bowser is up to no good and he steals this thing called the Wonder Flower, so Mario and friends gotta stop him, and that's basically it for the plot. The plot is pretty simple, but I actually like the mix-up of Bowser basically just stealing some random thing and Mario and friends gotta stop him. I think it works. Now getting into this game, you have a lot of playable characters, and the addition of even some new ones like the Yoshis and Daisy, which is pretty surprising but cool. Now before I get into talking about the game's levels, gameplay, I want to just talk about the world in this game's art style. The art style in this game is amazing. It has this like cartoonish art style to it, but I think it really works for Mario. And the world itself is probably the best I've seen out of 2D Mario. You have this desert place, and it actually feels like it could be a real desert somewhere in our world. It feels like some of the levels and worlds feel like they were based off of something that we could probably find in our world. I like the world of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and even the art style, so let's move on to the gameplay finally. The gameplay in Super Mario Bros. Wonder is pretty simple. Basically, you go to level, basically doing something like platforming and just trying to get to the end, as you're collecting these things called Wonder Seeds. But with all of this, there's this one thing that makes the gameplay pretty interesting, and that's the Wonder Flower. The Wonder Flower can really change up the gameplay of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and honestly, you never know what you're gonna get. It's really the one element in the game that kept pushing me to keep playing the levels. I wanted to see what I would get next with the Wonder Flower, and I was definitely surprised. Speaking of flowers, in this game, you have talking flowers that basically just say a bunch of random funny things, and honestly, I think they're a nice addition and add something to the world of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. You can turn them off if you want, but honestly, I never did. I like them, and I think they say some pretty funny, stupid things. Moving away from the flowers, we gotta talk about this thing in the game where you're able to go to shops. They're not super mind-blowing, but you're able to go to them and buy a few things like 1-ups, badges, which I'm gonna get into, and standees. As a whole, they're nothing super special, but they're a nice addition. The badges are honestly a pretty nice addition to the game. There's some like challenge courses for them, but not for all of them, and you basically go into them and challenge and test out the skills of how they work. They're pretty nice cosmetics. They're not necessary to use, but I honestly would recommend using them. They're pretty fun and interesting to use. Now this game has some new power-ups in it, which consist of Elephant, Bubble, and Drill. All of them have some pretty unique abilities to them. Elephant is able to shoot water, Bubble is able to shoot bubbles, and with Drill, you can just drill. For power-ups, I honestly don't find them all that bad. I think Bubble might be the slowest one out of all of them, but I don't think they're bad power-ups. Now, there's a few more things I need to touch on with this review. Music, boss fights, and challenge. I guess we'll start off with the music. The music in Wonder is probably the best 2D Mario has gotten with music. I'd say there's some pretty memorable tracks in here. The music can be reused sometimes, but I enjoy the music in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now let's get into the challenge of this game. I think there's a pretty decent mix between it. Some levels could be pretty easy, and some could basically just challenge you, really testing your nerves. If you don't know, the levels have star ratings that basically go over their difficulty, but some of them I do question. Like, there's this one level in the game I played and it didn't really feel all that hard, and I think it was a 4-star difficulty level. I feel like that's my one issue with some levels. Some I feel like the ratings are a little weird for difficulty because some of them kind of feel easy, but yet they're supposed to be more challenging stages. But I guess it's not the biggest deal in the world. Wonder sometimes can be pretty challenging and sometimes it can be pretty easy. So I think there's a decent balance there. Now we have finally made it to the boss fights, and they're kinda underwhelming. Most of them are just Bowser Jr. and they're not really all that challenging. But there's one element I do like about them, the fact they incorporate the whole wonder effect to the fights. But even with that, they're pretty easy, but I guess I had a little bit of fun with the boss fights. So with that, that's my review of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I think it's probably one of the best 2D Mario games in the entirety of the 2D Mario series. I can tell a lot of effort was put into this game, and honestly, I'd recommend it. Please, play this game. My final rating for Super Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be a 9 out of 10. And with that, that's the end of my review, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.